Jebe ma nang ka dang nyam pe sen chen tam che de wa dan den dung ya dan zhe ne de la na me pa yang ta bar so be chan chu ren pe je to bra ja da la dang wa je be da no ba je be ge tar ba dan tam je gen be bar du jo bra je ba tham je ge se je be ma nang ka dang nam pe sen chen tham je de wa dan de tung lao dan zhe ne de la na me pa yang dang pra so pe chang chu ren po je do pra ja da la dang wa je be da no pa je be ge tar pa dan tham je gen be bar de jo pra je pa tham je ge se je be ma nang ka dang nyam be sen chen tham je de wa dan den tung lao dan zhe ne de la na me pa yang dang pra zo be chang chu ren po je do pra ja de je de sa ma ge ge bar du long a yi sum ge wa la ko ma shi bar du long a yi sum ge wa la ko du de ding ne song de ne ma chan ta sam ge bar du long a yi sum ge wa la ko. Now to the refuge prayer at the bottom of page 5 of the opening and dedication text. Sangye chodang soke chonam la chanchu bardu dane kyapsu che dage jinsu ge be sonam ge drola penche sangye drumbra jo sangye chodang soke chonam la chanchu bardu dane kyapsu che dage jinsu ge be sonam ge drola penche sangye drumbra jo sangye chodang soke chonam la chanchu bardu dani gyamsu je dage jinsu gebe sonang ge drola penche sangye drubra sho manang kadang nyambe sanchen tamje dewa dang dewe gyudan tempar gyurje dungao dang dunyao gi gyudan dewa gyurje dungao mebe dewa dang me dewa gyurje Niring chadang nidang drawe dang nyong la na pra gyurje Manang kadang nyampe senchen tamje dewa dang dewe gyundan dempara gyurje Tungyao dang tungyao gi gyudan drawa gyurje Tungyao mepe dewa dang me drawa gyurje Niring chadang nidang drawe dang nyong la na pra gyurje Manang kadang nyampe senchen tamche dewa dang dewe gyundan dambara gyurje Dungao dang dungyao gi gyudan drawa gyurje Dungao mepe dewa dang me drawa gyurje Niring chadang nidang drawa dang nyong la nebra gyurje Bajra samaja Bajra samaja, Bajra samaja, malu semjen kungi kungirche, tude punche midze jomze la, onam malu jishen kengyurpe, chumden koje nede sheshu so, argyam padyam pushpe dupe, aloke gende neve de shabda prade, cha so sashi boju jushi meto dram rira lenshi ninde gempa de sanje shinla mekte pulwa ye roku namda shindu jobara sho jase wadan chunche jese yirang kuzing sowa ye gewa junse dagi jesangpa tamche sobe chanchu chirngu Please now turn to the general laying aside. Last great Guru Vaja holder and all you Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who reside in the 10 directions and 3 times, I who am called Kunju Yishi Durje supplicate you, turn your awakened attention to me from beginningless samsaric time until this very moment, under the power of the afflictive emotions, attachment, aggression, confusion, pride, and jealousy. I have committed the 10 non-virtuous actions through the gates of my body, speech, and mind. I have committed the 5 heinous crimes and the 5 secondary heinous crimes. I have transgressed the individual liberation vows, transgressed the precepts of Bodhisattvas, and transgressed the samayas of the great vehicle secret mantra. I have been faithless and disrespectful towards the 3 jewels. I have been faithless and disrespectful towards my gurus and teachers. I have been faithless and disrespectful towards my mother and father. I have been faithless and disrespectful towards my companions in the pure spiritual life. I have abandoned the sublime Dharma and disparaged the noble Sangha. In short, I now lay aside all faults and transgressions whatsoever that have become obstacles to the higher realms and to liberation, and that have become the cause for samsara and the lower realms. Before you, the great Guru Vajra holder, and all you Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions and 3 times, I expose the faults, I confess them, I am contrite, I regret them, I will not conceal them, I will not hide them henceforth. I will restrain myself and abstain from them. If I do not expose and lay them aside, they will not be transformed. Therefore, by revealing and laying them aside, may they be cleared, may I be purified. Namo to the mandala of you, victorious Idam deities. Om, I expose and confess the broken samayas of the Vajra exalted body. I expose and confess the broken samayas of the Padma exalted speech. Hung, I expose and confess the broken samayas of the perfect exalted mind. Hri, I expose and lay aside the broken root and branch samayas. I expose and lay aside transgressions committed knowingly. I expose and lay aside transgressions committed unknowingly. The 3 non-virtues of the body, the 4 non-virtues of speech, the 3 non-virtues of the mind. I confess each of the 10 non-virtues individually with faultless disciplined conduct, possessing completely pure disciplined conduct, and through the disciplined conduct that is free of arrogance. May the paramita of disciplined conduct be perfected to glorious Vajrasattva. I pay homage. Om Vajra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Tenubha Dita Dita Mebawa. Sudokaya Mebawa Subokaya Mebawa Nurato Mebawa Savasidi Mebaya Savakama Sujame Jidam Jidam Guru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagama Savatana Kata Basama Mebaja Basiva Mahasamaya Sato Om Vajra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Tenubha. Anurado Mebo was a in the Memaja Savakamazu Jamajam Zaran Guru Hong Magavan Savatana Kata Basama Mebaja Basiva Mahasamaya Sato Om Vajra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Tenubha. Dida Mebo was a Dogayam Mebo, Subogayam Mebo, Nuratam Mebo, as was it Memaja Savakamazu Jamajam Zaran Guru Hong Magavan Savatana Kata Basama Mebaja Basiva Mahasamaya Sato Om Vajra Samaya. Banobalaya Bazawa Tenopatita, the Memo, Subogayam, Nurata Memo, was in Memaja Savakamazu Jamajam Guru Hong Magavan Savatana Kata Basama Mebaja Basiva Mahasam. Umbasara Sato Samaya Manobalaya Bazawa, the Derabatina, the Memo, Sudagamo, Subogayam, Nurata Memo, was in Memaja Savakamazu Jamajam Guru. Oh, Magavan Savatana Kata Basama Mebaja Basiva Mahasamaya Sato Bazawa Samaya Manobalaya Bazawa. Did the member was the Gram memo, Subogam memo, under the memo was a Memaja Savakamazu Jamajam Guru, Umbajara Sato Samaya Mandubalaya Badana Mibo Sudo Mibo Suboga Mimo Nurata Mibo Savased Mimanja Samakama Sujana Chidam Srayan Guru Hong Ha 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 Ho Magavan Savata Kata Pesamo Mijabasamo Mahasamaya Santum Bezan Samaya Mandubalaya Dedo Mibo Sudoga Mibo Suboga Mimo Nurata Mibo Savased Mimanja Samakama Sujana Guru Hong Ha Ha Ho Magavan Savata Kata Pesamo Mijabasamo Umbasara Sato Samaya Mandubalaya Basado Denobadida Denoma Sato Suboga Mama Nurata Mibo Savased Mimanja Samakama Sujana Guru Oh, Magavasa Kata Pesamo Mijabasamo Mahasamaya Sado Umba Zara Sato Samaya Mandubalaya Anurada Mibo Savased Mimanja Samakama Sujana Guru Hong Magavasa Kata Pesamo Mijabasamo Mahasamaya Sado. So page 9 of the Mahamudra text. So basically, to do this mandala offering, ideally, you have two mandala bases, and then the grains for offering mandala. So two mandala bases if you have. If you don't have, then one mandala base. First, establish the mandala of the recipients of these offerings, which is called the field of accumulations or the field of refuge. Then, if you only have one mandala, then you can sweep the grains down, and then using the same mandala, you offer. But now with the presence of the recipients, the objects of refuge in the space in front. If you have two mandala plates, then first mandala plate you place in front, serving as support for your visualization. And then you use the second mandala plate. Then, of course, you need mandala grains. As I said, it's better to just use grains. If you want to add some semi-precious stones, you can add in there. Then, of course, on a regular basis, you change out all these, including the semi-precious stones, offer into out in your yard somewhere. Over time, maybe your particular patch has a whole bunch of semi-precious stones. That will be a good reminder of the Pure Land that you will achieve enlightenment in, where there are semi-precious stones. By that point, maybe semi-precious stones have become precious stones. Everything that is semi now may become full-blown, at some point in the future. Mostly use grains, edible grains, so you change them out from time to time. And so in doing offerings, on the one hand, I think we should, be cognizant of how much, in this day and time especially, how much waste there is in the world. Yes, that's one concern. So I think sometimes even, now Buddhist organizations, will do big offerings, like physical offerings, big offerings, especially in Asia. I hear that even now, especially in the Chinese Buddhist community, the offerings are very extensive. Tibetan style, at most, lots of tormas, and then maybe talk offering. And then talk offering is usually distributed, but the torma offerings are then taken out and scattered. In Chinese Buddhist offering, for example, there are lots of food, dishes of food. And when I was growing up as a child, we would look forward to then eating, after there's been offered, is shared like talk. But these days I hear, they cook so much, and also people have no interest in eating them. There's a lot of wastage, right? So on the one hand, being mindful of that. But here, barely, like don't think like, oh, don't on the excuse of, oh, I should not waste. And then you're actually doing some stingy things in your heart. It's like, oh, where can I buy, like the cheapest rice and the cheapest corn and the cheapest quinoa? It won't work, if you find that you open where you put your grains, you have a bag of like tasty grains you cook for yourself to eat. You have another bag of grains, oh yes, that I use for mandala offering. Then it doesn't work, So basically, what you would like to eat, you take from there. And even if it is a handful, then it's enough, Then your piles can be smaller piles, That doesn't have to be. You'll see me putting a pile. But if you put a smaller pile, but it's meaningful piles, then it has much greater effect. Right? All of this is training the heart, training the mind, and all the external things are in service of training the heart, training the mind. So on page 9 it says the second part, perfecting the accumulations through mandala offering, has two aspects: the mandala of accomplishment and the mandala of offering. For the first, for the mandala of accomplishment, the best mandala is made of precious materials. The mediocre ones are made of earth, or wood. And if it is made of precious materials, then even a 4-finger width wide is large enough. But the mediocre one, then you should have a bigger one, it says, no smaller than 1 cubit. So maybe not practical for most of us. Then, whatever the mandala is, its material and form must be excellent. Wipe it clean so that it is free from stains, blemishes, and so forth. Just as the mandala is free from dust, think that the karmic, emotive, and cognitive obscurations of all sentient beings are also cleared. So in cleaning the mandala plate, and both the accomplishment mandala and the offering mandala, we should think like during this clearing. So we recite the Vajrasattva mantra, right? As we clean the mandala plates. And during that time, again, we further clarify, clear, further purify this. So think of the mandala base as the ground of your mind, the ground of your being. So as you clean, you are removing the afflictive emotions, the cognitive, the obscurations of afflictive emotions, the obscurations of cognitive obscurations, and karmic obscurations, all 3 types. It's cognitive obscurations, which is the most subtle obscurations. Cognitive obscurations is, they are the obscurations that prevent us from seeing the exact workings of cause and effect. And so that's often said to be the very last set of obscurations to be cleared. And after that is cleared, Buddhahood is achieved. And before that, afflictive emotions, the obscurations of afflictive emotions, the kleshas, will be what we're working on clearing. Then the most manifested, the most gross aspect of obscurations are karmic obscurations. In terms of these 3 obscurations, karmic obscurations means manifested problems. And so most of what you and I face, at least what we are most concerned about right now, is actually mostly falls under karmic obscurations. In fact, we don't really think much about even the afflictive emotions, obscurations, unless karmic obscurations have become too loud, too obvious. Then only we think, oh, yeah, this is due to the kleshas. Oh, I need to clear the kleshas. But it's usually because karmic obscurations have turned up and they're yelling and screaming, so to say. Right? So most of our problems that we face in our day-to-day lives at the level that we are practicing, they are karmic obscurations. Things not going well, you are not feeling good, la la la, all of that. You're not happy with your life, you're not happy with circumstances. And it's true, I think some of us, that's why we practice. And then when things improve, then we move on already. So during like pandemic, so many people want to practice because both, well, they have no place to go and they don't have to turn up at work physically. So they have flexibility, but the other side is also they were suffering karmic obscurations. And so once karmic obscuration clears, it's like, okay. Then, of course, underlying karmic obscurations are afflictive emotions, obscurations. So that need to clear. That need to clear. Then underlying those obscurations are the cognitive obscurations. So we think all three levels of obscurations we need to clear. We need to purify. And so now, again, so first, you moisten your grains with some saffron water. The grains should be moistened slightly. When they're slightly moistened, they don't fall around. They don't slip and fall around so easily. So less messy on the one hand. On the other hand, it's also adding saffron, which is has medicinal properties and nutrition. You're adding more wonderful things to this offering. So you moisten the grains. And then pick up some grains and put in your left palm. It says that you don't want to hold the mandala plate with an empty hand. So you put some grains like that, And then you now hold the mandala plate. If your mandala plate has designs that you can tell apart, often there is the design of a Dharma wheel. And so the Dharma wheel faces you. And then you sprinkle, some of the saffron water onto the surface of the mandala. Then again, pick up some grains so that your right hand is not just empty. And pick up some grains like that. Then you do the cleaning. So here the text says, Om Vajra Bhumi Ahung. This is a little unusual compared to later mandala offering texts. But that's okay, I think. We follow what's here. It says Om Vajra Bhumi Ahung. Bhumi is ground. So now you recollect, you become mindful, you think of the ground in which the recipients of the offerings, the objects of refuge, the ground in which they are going to sit on, is firm like Vajra. And then think, what is that ground? That is the ground of our mind, our very being, our very essence. That is the ground. And then we invite the objects of refuge to sit firmly on that firm ground of our mind. Then it says, imagine that upon an excellently arranged seat sits the Guru in the form of Vajradhara, the embodiment of all Buddhas. And so that's the first heap, the first pile, the central heap, the central pile. And then you can kind of make it more tidy. The first heap, the first pile is in the center, and think, now Guru Vajradhara is seated firmly in the center of our hearts, in the center of our heart mind. Then in front, place one pile and imagine that upon an excellently arranged seat sits the host of Idam deities. So all the idams, the whole host, the whole gathering of idams, idams of all sorts, all the different empowerments we have received, all the different deities we have practiced, being introduced to, they all appear excellently in this pile in front. That is the idam. Then, now the third pile, to the right, place one pile and imagine the Buddha jewel. Of the three jewels, now the Buddha jewel. And the pile on the left. On your left, to the right of Vajradhara. Then imagine that the Dharma jewel is in the pile behind. Then the Sangha jewel, the noble Sangha jewel, is in the pile to the left of Guru Vajradhara. Now there are 5 piles, 5 heaps. Then it's not in the text here, but you should think in between are all the Dharmapalas, Dakinis as well. So now the 5 piles, the accomplishment mandala has been created, put in the space in front of you. Any questions or clarifications needed for this part before we go to the next?
I have a question. When we're wiping the plate and it's wintertime and we've got long sleeve shirts on, should we roll our sleeves up and do it with a bare arm?
Yeah.
Bare arm.
Yes.
Okay.
And shower and make sure it's clean.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes. The caves in Tibet are even colder. They know all about winter. Okay, so good. Next, on page 11 now. Then for the second, the offering mandala. So then if you have a second base, offering mandala, again, if you can find the wheel, then you place it facing you. I've noticed that when they make wheel, a lot of times they look more like mirror than wheel. Anyway. Yeah, if it is round, it's supposed to be a wheel, Dharma wheel. facing you again. And this side you already have grains, then this. So here it says for the second, the offering mandala. If you have another mandala plate, leave the previous one as it is. If not, visualize the assembly in the space before you, and then wipe that mandala. And then now again we have to wipe this mandala. We have to clean this mandala. Again, take some grains with your right hand, and then Om Bhadra Sato Samaya Mandupalaya. Om Bhadra Sato Samaya Mandupalaya. Mahasamaya Sado. So then you can think Om Banza Bhumi Ahong. So here, again, it's your mind. Upon the basis of this mind, you let Mount Meru arise in the center. So again, one pile in the center. And now this pile is the pile of the heap of Mount Meru. Then in front of Mount Meru, in the east, it says here in our text, is Videha or Purva Videha, the name of that. And in Gyopa Rinpoche's description of Mount Meru, never mind, that one is the four sides of Mount Meru. If you can include those colors, great. When you think of Mount Meru having four sides, and the eastern side is said to be blue. Then the southern continent, to the right of Mount Meru, the western continents, to the back of Mount Meru, northern continent, to the left of Mount Meru. Then in between Mount Meru and eastern, one small heap is the sun, and between Mount Meru and west is the moon. So this also corresponds, the earth sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers. It's like our skin clean and cleared of stains. And then Mount Meru is our torso and head. The four continents are our four limbs, 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 legs. Then sun and moon is left and right eye. Then after that, after this basic, and then add a little bit more. Scatter just above. This represents all the wonderful things that you like in this world, in this universe. You add. So it's normal. This particular pile now, or this whole mandala plate, you won't see the 5 or 7 heaps so clearly, and they just basically more or less form one big heap in the middle, and that's fine because you'll be adding to it. Now, turn this so that the wheel. It's like you have set up this offering. Now this offering should face the recipients in front. Then from the bottom of page 11, this ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, 4 continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, Idam deities, and you noble 3 jewels. I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them, O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels. I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. Then go back to page 11, second offering. You should add more grains. To this ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun, moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and all for it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them, O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels. I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. Again now, add more grains. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and all for it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities and noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them, O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels. I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray to you that you generate supreme realization within me. To this ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with mounts, the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, and you, noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. O Gurus, idams, and noble three jewels, I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. This ground sprinkled with scented waters and strewn with flowers, adorned with the supreme mountain, four continents, sun and moon, I hold in mind as a Buddha land, and offer it. May all wandering beings experience such a pure land. To you, sublime Gurus, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them. To you, idam deities, you noble three jewels, I offer my body, possessions, and roots of virtue as an offering. Please accept them, O gurus, idams, and noble three jewels. I pray that you generate supreme realization within me. Now, at the end of the session, you first sweep this offering mandala with your right hand, sweep that towards you. And when you do that, you think, you imagine all the blessings of the objects of refuge, that they shower their blessings on you just as these grains are falling into this space. Then if you have that other mandala, now you pick up that mandala. Now, not just the blessings, now you think the objects of refuge, the recipients, they all dissolve into you. And so in our text it says, dissolve the field of accumulation into yourself and rest in the profound meaning of inseparability between the objects of refuge, the recipients of this offering, and your own mind to be inseparable. So before we continue, again, any questions about this offering part?
Jenla, I have a question.
Sure.
In case that I've all the grains that I prepare in the bowl
Yes.
are finished, so I want to continue and accumulate more offerings.
Yes.
In case I can use the rice that I have above in the dress.
Yeah. So
This the
I understand. So basically, of course, you try to kind of balance out, right? And kind of estimate, how much. So it's best to just keep taking from, here, right? But sometimes you may actually want to do like 100 offerings. Then clearly it's a little impractical to have like a whole bag of rice here or corn, Then after like every 7, not the accomplished mandala, but the offering mandala. After like 7, sweep it all down and put all of that in here again and start again.
okay.
But if you're just doing like 7, 14, 21, whatever numbers like that, I think you can plan, so that you more or less know, okay, now sprinkle a little, put a little, put a little. Yeah.
Okay.
and let it just grow, 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 grow. And the more it grows, better like that, so you don't need to sweep generally. Yeah.
Okay.
Even the 100 times, you can kind of pace yourself out, and just a few, each time add a few to the main, add a few grains, add a few grains, add a few grains.
So I have two very mundane questions.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Practical questions, yeah.
so when we're putting the grains of rice on our mandala and they fall into our apron, once they fall into the apron, are you saying, can we, if we run out of rice, can we pick what's fallen on the apron and use it to?
Yeah, if you run out, yeah.
Okay. Secondly, these aprons, I ordered one from Tibetan Spirit.
Uh-huh.
Are we supposed to have the nice, beautiful side up on our lap?
Yeah.
Okay. And my
Sort
apron's
of.
starting to get dirty. Is it launderable?
Yeah, it's launderable, maybe by hand,
Okay.
hand washed,
Okay. Thank you.
The brocade is supposed to kind of give this like ooh, right? I'm using a fairly plain one, which is this,
Rinpoche, one question.
Mhm.
A few classes back, you said that the rice after being used a few times should be thrown out.
Yes. I just
Okay, but the superstitious Chinese in me is like, oh, must cook, share.
what? No. This is to be offered to the creatures.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so that you don't take any of it, especially yourself, should be given out.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And that is related to the notion of like, oh, this is blessing you should take. Yes, of course, you already dissolve, but then the actual grains, it just for the critters. All the birds and whatever that will peck and eat away, think these are your future retinue, the future disciples to work with, to
I
help.
have a question about that.
Yes.
For those of us who live on the fourth floor and have signed an agreement with our apartment not to throw things off the balcony, what should I do with the grains? Can they be just?
Don't. Clearly, you know what to do.
I'm just looking for affirmation.
I
Is
mean,
it okay to just,
practical. Do what?
okay, throw them away?
No, you collect them one side. Surely you leave your house more than once a
Yeah.
year.
Okay, then just
Surely
find a
you go to
place.
the wild, you go,
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, you give to, Kurt and say, hey, Kurt, you go throw it out your backyard. There's so many possibilities before trash can.
I mean, there's a lot of birds here, so.
Okay, now let's continue to idam. So these are the foundational preliminaries. Then the special preliminary of bodhicitta. So please turn to page 20, I believe, in your text, because I've been tweaking this text, the translation, cleaning up things, so the pages might not exactly correspond, but around page 20 is the generating the aspiration bodhicitta. And so together, let's say those words. It begins with, I will overcome the mandala. I will overcome the mandala of the dark forces of Maras and the opposing forces, the enemies who hate me and all of us, the obstructors who harm us, and those who create obstacles to accomplishing the wisdom of liberation and all-knowingness for the sake of all mother sentient beings as vast as space. I will liberate those not liberated from the ocean of samsaric suffering. I will free those not freed from the bondage of afflictive emotions. I will give relief to those who have not found relief from the vehicles of the Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, and I will lead to the complete nirvana of the Mahayana, those who have not passed beyond sorrow. Then action bodhicitta vow on page 23 or thereabouts, maybe bottom of 22, maybe 23. Until I reach the heart of awakening, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue for as long as I live, and from now until this time tomorrow, I will take into my own experience this Mahayana profound path of the union of the creation and completion stages. So now the creation stage is the next two of the fivefold, which is the idam, but also in this context later, the guru devotion. They all fall under creation stage. Then the fourth element, the natural state Mahamudra, that is the completion stage. So in the creation stage of the idam deity, particularly the explanation of the five manifest awakening, the five abhisambodhi. We covered that already a few classes last week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is important, this how to train in the creation stage by recollecting, by remembering. What is it, that we are doing? What is the basis of what we are doing? And the basis of what we are doing is this body, mind, it's innately already Buddhist. When we don't, when we are still under the power of confusion, then these five manifest awakenings, they play out as well. But they play out in ordinary, mundane death, wandering through the bardo, aimlessly, powerlessly, and then again, more or less aimlessly, powerlessly, we take conception and take rebirth. And so right now, then after birth, we play out our samsaric identities. But this is the mistaken version that is going on. When in reality, we could say, you could say, if, not if, but when Buddhas look at us, from the ultimate side, they only see the five manifest awakenings going on. So from that side, they don't think, oh, these sentient beings, from kind of the ultimate perspective, even as we are playing out this confused version of our identities, when Buddhas look at us from that ultimate side of things, they see only the 5 manifest awakenings. And from the 5 manifest awakenings, right, the 3 kayas, kind of being, they see only the 3 kayas. Because the dying stages leading to the first bardo, the bardo of reality, and bardo of dying, leading to the dawning of clear light, and that is the Dharmakaya. And then waking up again in the bardo, after the mind kind of, goes into blank, according to the dying process teachings. Then waking up, arising in the bardo, is the beginning of actually Sambhogakaya. And going all the way to conception is Sambhogakaya. These are corresponding to the manifest awakening of number 2, 3, and 4. Then birth, after a period of gestation in the womb, coming out of the birth canal, and that is the 5th manifest awakening. And that is then the supreme Nirmanakaya that manifests. Then all through life is the Nirmanakaya. But again, as long as the kleshas have not been cleared, as long as the 3 obscurations, karmic obscurations, afflictive emotions obscurations, and cognitive obscurations are not cleared, then instead of Nirmanakaya activity, then it's all just samsaric stories, samsaric playing out. So this playing out, I said, in the Gongchik it says, the Buddha has taught, have shown us, has taught, has led us, has pointed to us the way things are and the way they play out. Bab. Shisam bab ki neluk ten. She is the natural state, that's the emptiness, how nature of all phenomena, whether confused phenomena or phenomena free from confusion, whether conditioned or unconditioned phenomena, their essence, their nature is what we call emptiness. But this emptiness is not just mere emptiness. This emptiness is in fact also that which makes it possible for manifestations. Then when confused, it manifests as samsara. When free from confusion, free from the 3 obscurations, then it manifests. But here, bab is literally the verb that is also used for the way like the rain falls. The way rain comes down from the sky, bab. And bab can also then mean the way that it plays out, it unfolds. And so when we practice creation stage, as Gilbert Rinpoche says, the sequence, the stages that the basic stages that are found in creation stage practice wasn't. We should not think of them as something contrived that the Buddha gave because sentient beings love contrivances. We should not think of the stages of the creation stage to be skillful means in the sense of, Buddha skillfully gave us because we like these things. Not in that sense, skillful, but skillful in the sense that Buddhas understand the way things are and the way they play out. Playing out as confusion, and playing out as the display of the kayas. And so then, when Buddhas understand that, then they taught the stages of practice of creation stage. So creation stages are innately so. The more common translation is primordially established. And so there's a Vajra statement in the Gongchik that says, all the stages of practice are primordially established, or these ritual stages are primordially established. But if you translate that slightly differently, maybe more clear is to say, all these stages are not contrivances, not made up, but that they reflect the way things play out, the way things are. Not only the way things are in the sense of that they are empty, but also they have appearances. And appearances appear according to a set of principles, these underlying principles. And so the idam, arising of the idam, especially in this arising part. So then last week also I talked about this one explanation by Gyalwa Lorepa, one of the great Kagyu, early Kagyu masters. Lorepa was a master in especially the Drupa Kagyu lineage. Gyalwa Lorepa says, to cultivate the awakenings, the abhisambodhi, the manifest awakenings in the context of creation stage, is to remember, to understand, to remember, to know that this is how things are. This is how we in fact are. And to do this with this understanding. So on page 25, so when we recite Om Swabhava Shuddha Sarvadhamma Swabhava Shuddhohang, so that is one, you could do that, or the other one by reciting Om Shunyata Gyana Bhajra Swabhava Amma Kohang. Either one of these, actually, is the same point of the first of the 5 awakenings, which is to cultivate a recognition of the emptiness nature of all phenomena. The emptiness nature of all phenomena, that nature that is free from all conceptual elaborations, that is the emptiness of subject and object, apprehended and apprehender, and it's this mind, and this mind is also empty of itself. Mind is empty of self. So this is the corresponds then with, right, in the process of coming and going, birth, old age, sickness, and death, then this corresponds with the dying and then entering Bardo. Then from within the wanderings of Bardo, now in the context of training that, purifying the Bardo, and also then manifesting or affirming the Sambhoga Kaya nature, is the second, third, and fourth awakenings. And so here elaborated, so the next awakening is the awakening of the sun and moon, right? Remember the 5 awakenings, the awakening of emptiness, the awakening of sun and moon. The awakening of sun and moon here is elaborated into the stacking of the elements of the physical universe, beginning first with wind. Stacked put on top of wind is the mandala of fire, mandala of water, mandala of earth, Mount Meru. So understand that what this is, what this corresponds to in the outside world is, the very basis of this whole universe is the manifesting of these elements working together to produce what we call the physical universe. But this is also our own wind element, fire element, water element, earth element giving rise on top of that is Mount Meru, which is right this torso with this head. So it corresponds with that, the sun and moon. But then on the level of like conception, right? The bardo being wondering to now to be conceived, to join together the physical basis of our next birth, that is the physical basis that is contributed by the father and the mother, future father and mother. That's the sun and moon awakening. Then the syllable, the awakening of the awakening of the syllable. In this case, Hong syllable, awakening of the Hong syllable, and then the Hong syllable giving out light, making offerings to all Buddhas, giving out light, purifying beings. So this is the beginning of Sambhogakaya activity. Then all the lights come back and it transforms into the next awakening, which is the mudra. Here mudra is referring to the symbol. In this case, the blue vajra. So conception now has taken place. Now the beginning of the development of the embryo. And now it's the blue vajra. Then that blue vajra corresponds to the period of gestation. So all of this is the Sambhogakaya, and then Nirmanakaya is when birth. Now birth as Chakasamvara. So on page 27. So this is also start of Nirmanakaya. The body is blue, pure and luminous, like the color of a stainless sky. And so here, Chakasamvara has the male aspect of this idam is called Chakasamvara, blue in color. The female aspect, the feminine aspect, is called Vajravarahi or Vajrayogini. And she is described starting on page 29. They are simply called Bhagavati. Bhagavati is the female for Bhagavan. And Bhagavan usually translated as Lord. On page 29, thereabouts, it says, in his embrace is the consort Bhagavati. So the Bhagavati, the feminine aspect, is red in color of this deity. So when we say Chakasamvara, co-emergent Chakasamvara, we are referring to the male, the masculine, and the feminine arising together, co-emergent. They're inseparable. Then in terms of working with the visualization, the masculine is male, blue in color. The feminine is the female, and red in color. Then when you kind of have this male and female articulated, masculine and feminine, often then the masculine is the skillful means, the method, the compassion aspect. Then the feminine is the wisdom aspect, red in color. The wisdom aspect. And then some of you have observed, elsewhere, blue is the color of wisdom, red is the color of method. Yes, of course, But here the whole point is like they are non-dual. And so in a way, even more powerfully, saying, although in the masculine aspect, Chakasamvara in the masculine aspect is expressing skillful means. But skillful means is not skillful means if it is not based on wisdom. Likewise, the feminine aspect, Vajrayogini, Vajravarahi, is the wisdom aspect. But the wisdom aspect, right, is not really wisdom if it is lacking in the compassion, in the upaya, in the method. It's not wisdom. So in the end, wisdom and compassion cannot be divided. It's only on the level of like kind of bringing into focus for us as we train that we divide into this masculine, feminine. Then in the end, as practitioners, we also should not fixate so much on, oh, I am feminine, so I'm more wisdom. Oh, I'm masculine, or I'm more. This is just working with our. This is working with our concepts. There's a lot in the world, in our world beyond Dharma practice, or outside the immediate context of Dharma practice, where men and women and the inequalities between men and women, how human culture, society have kind of developed, and the ways in which, this inequality have created, very unfair, all of that, and I think it's good, now we cannot ignore these things for the betterment of everyone. We should change and improve those conditions. But don't read too much of what's in this practice, this kind of practice, and don't blend the two too much. And then that side becomes confused, this side becomes confused. Including like, wait, what are you practicing here? Are you practicing to reinforce? Kind of samsaric playing out. So we have this thing where we say, oh, everything is Dharma. Yes, for Buddhists especially, everything is Dharma. But when we are not yet clear, and wanting to very quickly join everything together, we'll just kind of murky up everything. Then we don't see clearly, So just be cautious. I'm not saying you cannot, but be cautious. And don't end up reifying. Don't end up, further kind of concretizing. Oh, feminine is like this, masculine is like this, like this, like that, Wisdom is like this, compassion is like that. So understand that, it's saying actually within us, both aspects are present. And so left channel, right channel, central channel. Left, right is when it's divided into the masculine, feminine. But the masculine and feminine, as long as they are separated, it says that's the playing out of confused samsaric reality. But when the left and right channels, you can pull in all the minds that are riding on the winds, that are traveling on the 72,000 byways and pathways, when we can pull all of them into the left and right, and then furthermore from the left and right channels, pull all of them into the central or the middle. It's called the Uma, the Madhyama channel, which is also Madhyamaka, which is also the middle way of the Buddha. And so there are layers of meaning here. The true middle way is actually the winds entering into the middle channel. So the outer meaning of middle way, the inner meaning of middle way, and the secret meaning of middle way. And when the Buddha says, the path that I show is the middle way. And the middle path is the path that I show. So on the outer level, it's said to be free from, right, the two extremes of nihilism and eternalism. Free from the two extremes. Inner is the view taught by Nagarjuna, the Madhyamaka view. And then secret is the Vajrayana understanding of the energies moving through the channels, the meridians. So how to get all of that, to go into the central, the middle way. Kyobaji Dinsungan says, when we are able to skillfully develop renunciation, and developing a natural disenchantment, disinterest in confused samsaric phenomena, and that is the most kind of effective way to cause the winds to go into the middle channel. Renunciation. He says that, then failing that, we have to do these contemplations. We have to understand instructions on the natural state. Failing that, we have to do the physical exercises and the visualizations, the holding of breath. And so Kyuba Rinpoche said, this is where Tilopa talks about this in the Ganga Mahamudra teachings to Naropa. So most of the Ganga Mahamudra instructions is pointing out nature of mind to Naropa, how the mind abides, how the mind manifests, then towards the end, Tilopa says, and then if you cannot do this, if these words you cannot understand, you don't know what to do with these words, these descriptions that I gave you is not enough, and then you have to resort to mastering breathing techniques, gazing technique, so all the kind of the truko stuff. Then he said, then you have to do that. But if you can understand these words, then you don't need those things. Then even on a more basic level, Kyuba Rinpoche will say, if you develop renunciation, and as a way to cultivate renunciation is to pay attention to disciplined conduct, shila. And when you pay attention to disciplined conduct, and disciplined conduct is not just about ethics. It certainly covers what we call ethics, moral ethics, but more than moral ethics. It's a disciplined way, not tight. So remember the laying aside text, it says at the end of that, towards the end, with faultless disciplined conduct. So it needs to be faultless. Then possessing completely pure disciplined conduct. Then the third, disciplined conduct that is free of arrogance. Sometimes when we practice disciplined conduct, we can become arrogant or self-righteous or tight, but it's not tight. It's not, you become intolerant. Especially like around others, you become intolerant, when people are not disciplined, people are loose, and then we become very tight, and then not yet. That's not natural. It needs to be very natural, you know. And in fact, people are at ease when they are around you. There are two ways people may be at ease around you. There is the unskillful way, quote unquote, you're so much fun. That obviously is not what we're talking about here, you know. Yeah. So anyway, 27. His left leg is bent slightly, meaning he's, you could say, I think in Tai Chi terms, you could say 70% of his weight is on the left leg, 30% of his weight is on the right leg. It's stretched out, the right leg, and the left leg is where most of the weight is on, 70%. And that left leg is pressing down the ear of black Bhairava. And right leg extended, pressing in between the breast of red Kalaratri, embracing the consort. And as I said, you know, don't think of Bhairava and Kalaratri as two like demons that, external demons that he has subdued. These are also manifested from the co-emergent nature. And this is expressing having the middle way that overcomes the two extremes. Then there's a crescent moon, a garland of vajras, and 5 dry skulls, 50 heads shrunk on human intestines. These 50 heads are the 50 types of derivative minds, mental factors. So this is to say that, you know, Chakasamvara has overcome, right, these mental states. He has one face. Kyuba Rinpoche says this one face is a sign that all phenomena are of a single taste, and that is the single taste of suchness, emptiness. As a sign of being unattached and unimpeded throughout the 3 times, he has the 3 eyes. So the 3 eyes here, actually, Kyuba Rinpoche's special instructions on co-emergent Chakasamvara says it is a sign of that he is unattached and unimpeded throughout past, present, and future. Meaning the mind is not fixated on the past, on the present, or on the future. Completely free. The corners of his eyes are red and his pupils are black. This is not in our text. I'm supplementing from other teachings of Kyuba Rinpoche. His 2 hands embracing the wisdom cornsword is a sign of the union of method and wisdom. Both his hands are also method and wisdom. So the hand that is holding the bell is the wisdom. The hand that is holding the vajra is the method. And the fact of embracing the wisdom cornsword is also a sign of the inseparability of method and wisdom. In his right hand, representing the inseparability of method and wisdom, is a vajra. In his left hand is a bell, a wisdom that proclaims the sound of emptiness. Right leg, again, method is extended and stepping on Kalaratri, which is the extreme of nihilism, Kalaratri, actually. Nihilism and the extreme of desire, right? Using method to overcome desire. More details, Kyuba Rinpoche said, Chakasamvara's right foot is pressing down. So in our text it says, you know, like in between the breast, but actually Khyentse Rinpoche would elaborate. It says the front of that right foot, the front of that right foot is actually on the navel, and the back is on the birth canal. Mainly kind of pressing down there. And that is blocking or overcoming desire, attachment. Left leg is the nature of wisdom, is the one that is bent, and that's trampling on Bhairava. And Bhairava here symbolizes eternalism and aversion and samsara. Kalaratri is the extreme of nirvana. What is the extreme of nirvana? It's the partial nirvana. The partial nirvana, the nirvana that seems like everything is empty. As in a mistaken nirvana. That right leg symbolizes overcoming that. In Gyalpa Rinpoche's explanation, he says, Bhairava actually has one face and 4 arms. If you want more details. Kalaratri actually has two arms, holding a knife and holding a skull cup. But in Bhairava, he has 4. Right hand holds a damaru and a curved knife, the 2 right hands. And then in the left, holding a katanga and a skull cup. So these are Bhairava's implements. His face is down. Heruka presses right on his ear. In our text, it says that. And here, this foot, this left foot, again, Kyoba gives more details. It says there are 3 contact points, which is the 3 points related to aversion. His head, his heart, and the life channel, meaning like the central channel. It's pressing on those 3 places especially. So these are like pith instructions, kind of usually more secret, not openly given in the text. So please take note of this. At the beginning, when you are just trying to cultivate build up, this visualization, it may be too much to try to memorize all of it. So the purpose is not to say, oh, you should memorize all of this, but planting some seeds. Yeah. It's in Gyalpa Rinpoche said these 2 figures, Kalaratri and Bhairava, they have long necklaces of fresh human heads, and they wear tiger skin as their loincloths. Then Chakasamvara has 4 fangs, remember? And these are overcoming the 4 maras. And he abides in a wrathful but smiling expression. Kind of fierce but smiling. Okay, so today we stop here. So the description of how he looks, how she looks, that's all related to the training in clarity. Last week I talked about creation stage also. It says you need to have, you are building up three elements. Clarity, to be able to see these features clearly. Then purity, to understand the meaning of these features. So that's what we're doing now. And then divine pride. That divine pride then is related to the 5 awakenings, the Abhisambodhi. Right? Because the main point of the divine pride is to affirm continuously, to to exercise continuously. Right now, as it is, I am Buddha. So to elaborate that point is the 5 awakenings, the 5 Sambodhi. Yeah. Good. Okay. So you can try to go write this down, you know. This means this, this means this, this means this, you know. Changju sem chorin poche ma ge ba nan ge gu che ge ba nyam pa me pa yan o ne gong du be wa shu. Okay, bye-bye all of you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
See you.
Thank you.
Rinpoche.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Good night. Good morning.
Yeah, good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.